All they do is promote shooting sports and things. They're pretty wimpy, really, if you really get right down to it on the real purpose of the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. They want to protect the hunters and the shooters, and every once in a while they'll say something nice about personal self-defense, but they're not real good about the real core meaning of the Second Amendment.
Well, that's why we support gunowners.org here at the Alex Jones Show. I was reading this article in the segment before. Walmart needs industry support for green labels. So now you can walk into your local Slave Mart and you'll be buying products with a nice little label that makes you feel better and say, oh, the carbon impact of this product isn't that much at all. Isn't it so good? What this really means is shoddier products for more money in a Slave Mart situation.
Green labels.
Green labels.
I hope they don't have the wrong kind of dye in green labels. I mean,
You know what? I'm sure they'll make them look really earthy, but they'll still be put together by Indonesian kids in some far-off third-world country.
Well, unless the Indonesian kids start to make more money than the kids they can find someplace else.
Well, that's really the point, isn't it? Isn't it to bring everybody to kind of second-world status? I mean, let's look at China as an example. You know, in the 80s, they got the Coca-Cola, they got the Levi's jeans, they got the McDonald's. You know, they westernized a little bit. Not much. They still had their one-child policies. They still had their police state. They still have their ultimate rulers, their dictatorship. The military are the police there. They still have that. But then you look at the United States, and what have we taken from their culture? Well, now suddenly it's okay to have the military on the streets. Suddenly it's okay to have youth groups. Suddenly we're talking about bio and geoengineering. Suddenly we're talking about one-child policies.
What do you got against youth groups?
Oh, yeah. Youth brigades are always good when they're state-sponsored.
You know what I've always said about teenagers? I hope I don't offend any teenagers, but teenagers are the dumbest people on the planet.
I disagree with you there. It wasn't so long ago.
I will tell you why teenagers are the dumbest people on the planet.
Okay.
Because a 10-year-old knows he doesn't know anything.
Uh-huh.
You know, he realizes it. Mm-hmm. You know, a teenager doesn't know anything either, but he thinks he knows everything.
Well, I'm not going to...
Or he's some of the dumbest people on the planet.
I guess I'm not going to say I wasn't cocky and arrogant as a teenager, but I know plenty of middle-aged people I was smarter than even then. Well, and that was over a decade ago. Well, I'm going to be 30 in like 2 weeks.
Well, you're an exception to the rule.
Oh, exception to the rule.
Most teenagers are dumb because they think they're smart. And they
Listen,
don't know anything.
Yeah, but the thing is that their parents in most cases are just as dumb, especially nowadays. They're like, look at my SUV. Let's take the example, 5-10 years ago. They're the ones driving this Eddie Bauer mobile, trying to be like socially acceptable at the soccer mom circle. And over at the kids' games, and what's socially acceptable? Yeah. Let's talk about the latest sports team and the college game that was on last night, and look at the bumper sticker I have or the pennant on my car.
Jason, look. Kids' sports can be relevant to current politics.
And how's that?
Because when I was younger and my kids were little, I was a soccer coach. Mm-hmm. And you know what I had to carry with me when we went to tournaments, when we registered our kids to play in tournaments? I had to carry a folder on each kid, which included the kid's birth certificate.
Really?
Yeah, because you had to prove your kid was eligible to play in the league. Because lots of parents would try to play their kid down to make them look good.
Yeah.
Well, so you had to carry the kid's birth certificate in order to play little kid soccer. But to be president, you don't got to pony up your birth certificate. See, there's relevance here.
I guess there's relevance. Well, you know what? There's also, and I think that the reason that people latch on to sports is because we really don't have anything else where we get together and we go for a common goal and you have that adrenaline rush. I think sports actually does teach a lot of kids discipline and respect and goal-orientated behavior, reach out for that goal, work hard for it. But the problem is a lot of that does not go into the real world beyond, they lose it as they go to college or they get that first job. And then they try to latch onto it again by thinking that they're part of the Yankees or the Mets. They don't really learn the things that they learned. Again, coming together, common goals, the greater good, working towards a goal. Instead, they're like, the goal they're working towards is to see their team win the pennant.
And even you, in your analysis there, went back to New York, didn't you? The Yankees or the Mets, you see?
I can't help myself.
Guilty.
I am.
You are guilty.
We're going to get into this Facebook police raided my family barbecue. We've reported on this before. Federal agencies surveilling Facebook. Local police broke up a prom party. They're like, no, New Jersey kids, no prom party for you. How dare you put it on Facebook? And this is even worse. This is a SWAT team saying it was a raid, guns drawn. We're going to get into that in a moment.
When you have unexploded super thermite in all the dust samples that are tested, mm-hmm. and when the scientists put it in their little gizmo and they heat it up and it goes, boom. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is unreal proof. This is This is like fingerprints all over the bloody knives everywhere. Mm-hmm. So why isn't it being covered by the mainstream media, Jason? I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, because the mainstream media is so good, and they have our best interests at heart, so they have to lie to us sometimes.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not in our best interest to know that unexploded super thermite is all over the World Trade Center dust, and we'd like an explanation.
No, you don't understand. Planes cause buildings to fall on top of themselves in uniform fashion at unprecedented speeds.
Even when they don't hit the building.
Yes,
building to
Building 7, obviously.
Building 7 to fall down.
Yes.
But this super thermite thing, I mean, this is scientific, peer-reviewed. I mean, somebody tell me how unexploded super thermite got in the World Trade Center dust, please. I would like to.
Well, let's talk for a second about that, because we're almost 8 years after 9/11. There have been zero instances where quote unquote terrorists were able to smuggle explosives into anywhere in the United States. However, the U.S. government, through drills and exercises, was able to get explosives into 10 buildings over the last couple of years.
Amazing.
That's weird.
I just
see, real people can't do it, Bob, and the terrorists can't do it. But the government seems to be able to do it.
Well, obviously, Al-Qaeda must be way more sophisticated than we think they are, boy. For them to be able to bring all that tons of super thermite into those buildings and hook it all up.
And ram planes into there for no apparent reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense.
It's a huge uncovered story in the mainstream media, and they're still complicit with it. Completely complicit. They're totally controlled.
I absolutely agree. Larry in California. Larry, you're on the line.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jason.
You got it.
I just wanted to mention something. I actually had court the other day, and I wanted to bring out how they're using the draft for young men that are in court for like child support and unemployed. I was like number 10 on the list to be called up, and every single guy before me, because I'd sat in the front row, I could hear everything the public defender guy could say and everything, and every young man that was up there was asked if he had signed up for selective services, and they really it was like the guy was pushing it.
So you really think that maybe they might be gearing up to open up either the draft, in other words, military conscription, or perhaps a military force in the United States where they would have to draft from? They did just make the DHS officially part of the NSA, Bob.
No, they did? Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not that it's much difference, but now they're just admitting that DHS is going to be absorbed by the National Security Agency, and DHS was only put into place, supposedly, even though it was on the shelf and the paperwork was all there, and they just seemed to spring this new administration into life, this new bureaucracy, because of 9/11, Bob.
Yeah, the concept of the Department of Homeland Security, which sounds so Teutonic,
Little Deutschland?
Yeah, little Deutschland was in place before September 11th, and, then they use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
Period. That's not even debatable.
I'm with you. We're going to go to Trey in Texas in just a moment, but I want to read this story. Facebook police raided my family barbecue. You don't think they're surveilling what's on the internet? Folks, people are profiling themselves on another level more than ever before, Bob. What they're doing is they're putting out every 15 minutes, this is my status, this is my mood, I'm over here, I'm over there, text me, I'm Twittering from the mall. Literally people are giving Big Brother what they want on another level. And then somebody like this who thinks that Facebook is just fun and games and he's going to just be able to network with 15 or 20 friends. Riot police stormed a 30th birthday party for just 15 people and shut it down, thinking it was a rave because it was advertised on Facebook. Hey, it's my birthday party. Everybody come down. SWAT team. 4 police cars, a riot van, and a helicopter were involved in a swoop on Andrew Poole's gathering for his family and friends. He was just about to light the barbecue and had not even turned on the music. Hadn't even put up the music yet when the gazebo suddenly started flipping wildly and the sound of a chopper blade filled the air. 8 officers wearing camouflage trousers and body armor jumped out and demanded that the rave be shut down. Mr. Poole said, we were nowhere near anyone. We weren't even playing music. What effectively the police did was come in and stop 15 people eating burgers.
They weren't even invited.
The party was organized using the Create an Event facility on Facebook. And you've seen, I don't know, you on the Facebook?
No.
You're not on the Facebook?
No, I'm not on the Facebook.
I'm on the Facebook. And personally, I prefer MySpace because there's too much of these apps and these events and become a fan type things on Facebook. But I'll tell you what, I found some of my top news stories, not from the Routers Wire, although I pulled a lot from the Routers Wire, but from my little Facebook profile that people post on. And we actually had, who was it? Congressman Joseph Pitts doing a 1-minute speech on the House floor about abortion, eugenics, and population control.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah, it was really good. And that's what I use the Facebook for. I don't use it to do these events and let people spy on me. I don't update my mood. I tend not to post pictures of myself, but then I'll go to an event, like I'll go to New York for one of my alumni weekends, and all of a sudden there's 20 pictures of me drinking beer on the internet, you know. So people don't realize, and that's just, 1 or 2 events, during the year. Some people post weekly on this thing. Like every weekend, they're posting all their pictures. They don't understand the negative effects, the impact of that, the big brother aspects. And we're going to get into that on the other side.